At the Democratic National Convention, John Kerry, you had two people speak who claimed to know something about you from the Vietnam War. One was Jim Rassman, a man who knew you only 2 days. The second was David Alston, who gave a speech about how you ate together, lived together, fought together. But the records show that David Alston was only on your boat for a period of 5 days, John Kerry, shorter than a short cruise. The man who really knew you well was Steve Gardner. He sat behind you for 2.5 months of your short tour in Vietnam.
John Kerry and I were involved in an ambush position. And on this night, the idea behind the ambush was to spot anybody coming into this VC stronghold area that we were in patrol on. What we would do is sit there and use the radar to spot them. And when we would spot them, then we'd put an illumination round on them, run a few rounds across their bow to stop them. Well, in this particular instance, John Kerry allowed this boat, a sampan, like basically about 25 to 30 foot long, to gain access immediately upon us. And by doing that, obviously, he wasn't watching the radar or whatever he happened to be doing at the time, but he wasn't doing his job. So when we finally looked up and realized what was coming at us, we turned our lights on it, and immediately as soon as our lights hit it, we hollered at him to dung lie, stop. When he didn't stop, he immediately went to the center of the boat, grabbed up an AK-47, and swung around to shoot us. And when he did, I shot him. Now, in the process of this, as soon as we shot the man, boat stopped. He went over the side into the water. We never did recover him. But we immediately started our engines, pulled away from the bank, went over to the boat. When we get to the boat, I'm watching out across the horizon because I'm looking for gunfire now because we're lit up like a Christmas tree. Drew Whitlow, who was standing down on the bottom lower deck, says, Gardner, he said, you need to look down here. I said, man, I ain't got time to look down here. He said, yeah, you need to look down here. He said, you killed a kid. I said, oh, bull. You know, it's just one of them things. But at any rate, I looked down over the side, and sure enough, there's about a 10, 11, 12-year-old boy laying down there dead. And when I'd shot that man out of the boat, he obviously had been standing right over the child because as I raked my guns up through him, it shot the middle of the boat and blew it apart. On the bow of the boat, just catatonically sitting there, was a young woman and a little baby, and they're all wrapped up together. Drew immediately reached down and grabbed her and pulled her up on our boat because the boat was sinking. At that point in time, the boat was going over and going down. We didn't have a chance to get anything else out of it, couldn't get the boy's body out of the boat or anything. It just went down out of sight. The next day, John Kerry writes his report and sends it in. Now, we never saw this report as the enlisted on the boat. So it was 35 years later when I finally see the report. And what John Kerry had written a fraudulent sit-rep report.
This is the report that John Kerry submitted on the evening of January 20th, 1969 to the United States Navy.
The report that was submitted by John Kerry after that sampan incident was all the information I had at the time. It indicated that there were 4 or 5 VC killed and that there were 2 VC captured.
What John Kerry sent up the chain of command was that he had killed 5 VC and captured 2 VC. And by doing that, totally takes the child's death, puts it aside. And the reason that child had died was because of John Kerry's derelict in duty.
All you need to do is look at page 90 of Kerry's biography, where he identifies that there was a small family on this sampan, and only a small family, and describes it as a tragedy. And then look at the report he actually provided to the Navy and read 2 pages, and you know what type of person you're dealing with in John Kerry.
Had I known that one of my officers submitted a false, knowingly false, after-action report, at a minimum, there would have been an Article 32 investigation under UCMJ. Whether or not it proceeded to court-martial would depend upon what I found out in the Article 32 preliminary investigation.
There was only 2 people killed in the boat, and I killed both of them. And I take that to my grave with me.
It was a tragedy, but it was never reported as such. And as a result, I did not know the true facts of this incident.
Read one page out of this book and look at the reports Kerry submitted, and you know that you are dealing with a liar, a supreme hypocrite, a man who literally would kill by mistake a small child and then present it to the United States Navy as a great military victory.